Back to the Super Bowl in 2001 in Tampa. You mentioned, were you 26 years old at the time?
I was 26 when I came here, so by that point I was probably 20, because I came here for the Final Four first and the Super Bowls after that. But so yeah, I was 29, I guess, at the time.
That's so young. And what exactly was your role on the committee?
I was the president for the committee. I was the main staff person. No, I reported to the board led by Leonard Levy and some others.
But you were in charge of, what does that mean, like logistics of kind of the Super Bowl and the sponsorships? And all
what
that?
happens, each city, and even to this day for a Super Bowl, there's what's called a host committee. That's the way the NFL structures it. And basically they require, in their bid process that there's a whole book of things that you've committed to as a city, and it's that group's responsibility to be the liaison to the NFL to set up everything from the party sites, the real estate, getting the stadium ready, to raising a lot of money, frankly, that you promised yourself, and coordinating with the city, traffic, security, all those sorts of things. So my career was basically based on getting a chance to work with so many great people in what I call mega events, and that's where I still think it's relevant to what we do now in an athletic department standpoint. But when you're basically putting together, so for about 8 years there, I would just move into a town, spend 2 or 3 years getting it ready for the Super Bowl, and then I'd be out of a job and I'd have to go somewhere else. That's why I did go from Tampa to Jacksonville down to Miami. And then we decided, hey, moving every 3 years was great in my 20s and early 30s, but it was time to get a big job, a real job after that.
Who played that year?
In that one in 2001, it was the Ravens against the Giants. It was the
Ravens Giants.
Yep.
Man, go to the top left, Tyler, with the Tampa picture, the kind of like artist.
The Charles Vizino video.
Look at that. How fun.
Charles.
That's awesome.
He still does those type of things for every Super Bowl now. He does some pretty cool artwork. But yeah, it was Trent Dilfer came back to play because he was the former quarterback of the Bucs at the time, and he was the Ravens quarterback that year, and they won big in that game, so it was cool.
And what's crazy is that was also Gasparilla weekend. So you had Gasparilla Saturday and then Super Bowl Sunday the next day.
So to your point, when we talk about all the development that's happened in Tampa and so much more entertainment options, that didn't exist even as recently as 2001. There was no Riverwalk. There was not much in downtown. So really the NFL at the time was like, hey, what are our fans going to do? Now it's not a problem when they come back. When Super Bowl's here in Tampa now, there's all kinds of stuff to do. But back then it was like, oh man. So the mayor, the crew, my board with Leonard Levy and others said, hey, let's, and then because this was January 30th. So they moved Gasparilla a couple weeks up to coincide with Super Bowl weekend.
Was that the pitch from the mayor? My grandfather was mayor at the time, which is kind of a full circle kind of fun thing. But so was that the pitch? Like, hey, look, was the NFL in a sense taking a risk on Tampa in that way? Like, hey, there's not much to do.
Well, that wasn't our first Super Bowl, but it was something because in '84 was our very first Super Bowl here, and there really wasn't anything to do then.
Right, nothing back then.
But what was cool then, Tampa's always found a way to kind of make the best of what they had. The '84 Super Bowl, believe it or not, actually created what was kind of the first things that we take kind of commonplace now of a hospitality village around the stadium, since they didn't have much around it.
Wow.
A lot of the people that were involved then created these massive tents around the stadium, created a really cool vibe for that first game in '84. Then, of course, there was the Gulf War game in '91, and then it moved on to, this was the third one that we had in 2001, because this was the first one that was played in, the first two were played in the old Sombrero. This one was the first one played at Raymond James. So basically Raymond James was built to help us get this one. But now you fast forward and there's so many other things that happened. But yeah, at the time, we thought it would be a good idea, and the NFL was willing to go along with it because there was the whole Pirate Fest around it and free concerts in the cities and all that. But I think that, obviously the record books will show one way or the other, but I believe there was as many as they claimed 700,000 people in downtown, and even a normal Gasparilla now is like 300 or 400 even today. Right. So it was like double Gasparilla, and it was not good on the logistics standpoint because there was traffic all the way back to St. Pete getting in.
I remember my dad complaining about that. What are they thinking? There's going to be, gridlock across the city.
There was gridlock. He wasn't wrong.
If you enjoyed this clip, click here for the full episode and make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.